This is Leonard from Master Sprinter TV. Today we're going to talk about reasons why walking for master sprinters is actually preferable to jogging or distance running. So the first reason is that when you're walking, you always have one foot on the ground, so there's lower impact. It's a mode of exercise that you can do even if you have minor injuries such as shin splints or stress fractures or knee issues, or in my case, a left calf strain. So it's something that is able to be done regardless of this. Well, not regardless, but despite minor injuries. Okay, the next advantage of walking is that it promotes joint preservation by stimulating synovial fluid, which lubricates joints and reduces joint stiffness. Walking can be also done after meals, which can help to promote or control blood glucose levels, whereas jogging after a heavy meal in particular is much more difficult and actually not advisable. The next reason why walking is a preferred mode of exercise is because it helps to preserve type 2 muscle fibers, because jogging has a tendency to shift type 2 X fibers to type 2A. Another advantage of walking over jogging is it helps to preserve sprint mechanics, because walking is it's a different motor task, whereas jogging is going to be kind of backside dominant, and with much longer ground contact times and lower force development. Another advantage of walking is it helps to reduce CNS stress and promotes recovery, as well as it's just easier to sustain. So in other words, you can walk with a partner or a friend, whereas jogging with a partner or a friend who's not necessarily at your same fitness level is not as easy to do socially, for obvious reasons. I guess one more point we'll mention is it's easier to have a conversation with a partner or a friend if you're walking with them than if you're jogging, particularly if you're jogging at a rapid pace. So you can go for a 30-minute walk, have a nice little conversation with a partner, with a friend. If you're jogging at a rapid pace, it's much more difficult to sustain a conversation or have meaningful conversation at an elevated jogging pace. So hopefully that kind of explains the social interaction of walking versus jogging. So another advantage of walking is it helps to promote mental health and mood, as well as stress reduction. The next advantage of walking is that it actually does not create the need for a recovery day. So you can walk on a daily basis without creating any stress or need to have a day off between sessions. But jogging, particularly extensive long runs, do create a need to have recovery days, just like with resistance training or sprint training. And then lastly, even though these are maybe some somewhat scientific terms, I'll include the descriptions or definitions in the video. Walking enhances recovery by promoting a parasympathetic state, by increasing capillarization and the clearance of metabolites. So just to give you a little explanation of those three scientific terms, the parasympathetic state. Parasympathetic state is basically a state of recovery, repair, and rebuilding, which involves kind of maintaining a resting heart rate, cortisol levels, sleep, and digestion. Capillarization is basically the blood vessels which are carrying nutrients and promoting tissue health by removing waste products. And then the clearance of metabolites involves lactate and waste products, which are kind of fatigue causing. So when you're walking, you feel less stiff, because you've had that metabolic clearance of those lactates. So in summary, there are numerous benefits to walking versus jogging for master sprinters. Again, there are benefits of preserving type 2 muscle fibers, preserving sprint mechanics, promoting metabolism, reducing injury risk, and And again, this is not necessarily, it's not an attack on distance running. It's not an attack on jogging per se. It's a mode of exercise. But for master sprinters who are trying to stay sharp, keep injury risk low, keep their metabolism elevated, certainly walking is a tool in your arsenal to be able to stay healthy and continue to participate in USA Masters Track and Field. So until next video.